Welcome to Pride Performance, the England Lions football coaches show with Coach Mike Morrison.
And we're joining Coach Mike Morrison. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Tough loss last night, to say the least. Kids did play well. It's never easy to walk away on the downside of the scoreboard. What were some of the positive things that you take away from that ball game?
You know, it's the ball game itself wasn't as tough as, you know, the scoreboard indicates. You know, we took our lumps. You know, Harding's a fantastic ball club. You know, they've got a great offense. They were a lot faster than we thought they were. They were a lot tougher than we thought they were. You know, they catch the ball in space well, full speed, full stride. You know, they're not afraid to take a hit. You know, the positives, you know, we gained over 200 yards. You know, we moved the ball well. Messed up our kickoff, got the ball back on kind of a fluke onside. It wasn't supposed to be an onside kick. You know, we were supposed to kick towards the sideline, and Matt reared up and booted it, but apparently it went 11 yards. Went exactly as far as it was supposed to go, and we jumped on it. Bounced off the kid. You know, one of the greatest screw-ups I've seen in a high school game. You know, it was nice. But we got the ball. We moved the ball well. You know, we got down to about their 25, and then that's where we panic a little bit. You know, it's still a mental issue with, and not so much penalties last night, but bad handoffs, missed assignments. But, you know, when we ran the ball and we made our assignments and we were focused, we looked good. They couldn't stop us. You know, we moved the ball 4, 5, 6 yards a pop, and then shoot ourselves in the foot. Mm-hmm. You know, we had the same thing happen last night that happened against Barton. We got down to the 1 yard line. We had a 65-yard pass play from Derek to Matt Russell. Gets down to the 1 yard line, and what do? False start. You know, mental mistakes. We got the ball in the end zone. Got to move back. Ran a toss, got back down to the 1, ran a sneak, got the ball in the end zone. But, you know, positives, the kids kept their heads up. They had a great attitude. One of the ultimate compliments you can take away from a game like this is when an officiating staff comes up to you after the game and commends a team on their attitude and their behavior and how well they acted. That is a super reflection on this town and this team.
That is awesome.
And we took our lumps, and we knew we were going to take our lumps. We've played 5 teams with a combined record right now of 22-2-1. Last 3 teams we've played are undefeated. They're 15-0. You know, it's a tough first half of the season. You know, it only gets better from here.
Well, having a tough first half of the season, that gives you an opportunity to learn from those tough games and be in those tight situations, which will help you tremendously toward the end of the season should you find yourself in a tight, close ball game.
Right.
Having said that, going into the latter part of the season, England can make a turnaround and make a serious bid for the playoffs. So hope is not lost, even at this point in the season.
No, we ran into the same thing last night. I told the kids. We played Glen Rose last year, who was on a roll roughly about the same time as this. You know, we had a rough game against Rising last year, went to Glen Rose, you know, got blown out of the stadium. But I told those kids at halftime, we still have a chance of making the playoffs. This is what we need to do it. And we ended up making the playoffs. Told the kids the same thing last night. Perfect football is going to get us into the playoffs. Mental mistakes, turnovers are not going to get us there. It's a new season starting right now. We need 4 wins to make it to the playoffs. And we're playing Episcopal, losing record. Brinkley, who lost last week, they're sitting at 3-2. Then we've got Rosebud, has a losing record. Then Mayflower comes to town. If we play those 4 games right, Riverview will probably be the play-in game for that 4th spot of the playoffs right now. And, you know, Barton may falter. You know, they still have to play Harding. They still have to play Brinkley. They still have to play Mayflower.
Right.
They still have a tough stretch of schedule to go. They really, you know, toughest team they've faced so far is us.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's still a lot of hope. You know, I let those kids know we are making the playoffs. You play right, you go to the playoffs. You come in with the attitude that a couple kids had last night, that loser's mentality, that we're never going to win. It's not going to happen. This high school team has lost for so long. That's the attitude they have. Mm-hmm. And last year they had it, but then they got out of it. After Glen Rose, they started to believe in themselves. We have some young guys here who have a hard time believing in themselves. I'll tell you, they're not going to play unless they get out of it. And they haven't played very much. I'm not going to put them on the field until they get that attitude right.
Well, you've mentioned your opponents up to this point being 22-2-1. England has not faced a team with a loss when they played them.
That's right.
So this is a 180-degree flip, essentially, facing a team that has not won a game.
Right.
And the similarities don't stop there. You share common opponents with Barton and Harding Academy, having played both of those. An indication of how similar their teams are is the fact that both teams are scoring right at about 9.5 points a game and giving up right at about 38.5 points a game. Very similar results basically thus far in the season. Where does England have an advantage over Episcopal on the field right now?
I think experience. We've played better football teams. We've seen better competition, especially non-conference. They played Smackover, who's a heck of a team. They played Horatio, who's not too bad. I think they played Arkansas Baptist. So they've faced a couple decent teams, not with as good as records as the teams we've faced. When they faced Harding, it was 31-0 at quarter. They had the mercy rule going, at halftime. I believe we did too. The big difference was Harding pulled their starters out at quarter against Episcopal. Against us, they kept them in the entire half. Harding took a lot of delay of game penalties to run down the clock against Episcopal. They didn't take one against us. To tell you the truth, they were still throwing the ball in the fourth quarter against us, which I don't have a problem with. He did the best job he could to keep the ball out of the end zone in the fourth quarter, and that was a class move on his part. We played them better. I watched the film. I don't think Episcopal crossed the 50 in the first half. Their 14 points came in the fourth quarter, late third, fourth quarter against their third string. In those regards, we looked better against Harding. Now, the Barton score, that's a game we should have won. We got the ball down inside their 5 twice, couldn't put it in. If we get the 2 points, that's a 16-13 ball game. They go to Barton and get mercy ruled. They didn't score until late in the fourth quarter. So it was a 41-0 game in the fourth quarter. We were still in the ball game in the fourth quarter. So that's a huge shift. That's a huge confidence builder right there, knowing that we could move the ball freely against Barton and just couldn't put it in the end zone. And we stopped them, but Episcopal couldn't stop them, couldn't move the ball on them. That's a huge confidence boost right there.
Traveling to Episcopal, hopefully the Lions will leave there with a victory. If they do, how big of a boost will that be for this young team?
That'll be huge. We need to ring that bell. After 5 weeks of losses, it's about time we came home and got that bell ringing for the win. It'll be huge. Giant confidence boost going into homecoming against Brinkley and then going to Rosebud. This is a gigantic 3-week stretch for us. This 3 weeks is going to indicate whether or not we go to the playoffs or not. One loss in these 3 weeks, we're staying home at the second week in November. We win these 3, we have a fantastic shot. What we're hoping to do is win these 3. Somebody falters, we go to Riverview, get that 4th win, and even Mayflower. They are not as good as most people say. They're a good football club, lots of speed, huge line, but they make their mistakes just like anybody else does. Coach Davis does a good job over there, and that's 4 weeks down the road. Right now, we're looking at Episcopal. This is the win that we need.
A double-edged sword in a young team can be confidence. It's hard to get, and once you get it, sometimes you can become overconfident.
Right.
What has the coaching staff done to maintain a sincere level of confidence in these young guys? And should England roll off a couple wins, what are your plans to keep the guys from getting the big head, so to speak?
Let them know the confidence level we don't need to have because, we've lost 5 straight. If we win a couple, we're still sitting at 2-5. We still have 2 games to go. Overconfidence is nothing to help a team. Confidence is great. Overconfidence is going to kill us. Hypothetically, we go in Episcopal, we win. Brinkley comes here, we win. Rosebud could be a huge letdown if we're not careful. We bring them down. That's the best thing to do is just let them know that every game from here on out is huge. Overconfidence creates mistakes. We've created way too many mistakes this year. And trying to keep them humble, especially such a young team, is a difficult job. But if we put our foot down on them, I think they'll take care of business.
What about the injury status of the team right now after last night's game?
Eric Dunbar had a cramp or 2, nothing serious. Ryan Johnson twisted his ankle. It was pretty swole last night. He came out, I think, in the second quarter. Didn't return. I guess we'll find out his status later today. And DeMarcus Bunch came out and hurt his back, but he was up and moving around at the end of the game. Other than that, everybody seems kind of healthy. We're hoping, with the low numbers, everybody stays healthy because we lose a couple, we're gonna be in trouble. If we lose a lineman, we're gonna be in big trouble because we don't have that many. We're having a situation with Colton Bridges right now. Hopefully we can get him back. So we'd love to have him stick around. He's a good athlete. He's a good player. He's got a great attitude. And we'd hate to lose him.
Well, Coach, thanks for visiting with us, and best of luck next Friday at Episcopal.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Pride Performance, the England Lions football coaches show with Coach Mike Morrison.